Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out the graduationparty.org to get yourself or a loved one some high quality mathematics tutoring. Available on the spot, just a click of a couple of buttons and you'll be video chatting with a professional tutor. Now, moving on to the news, you have Secretary of State for the United States, Anthony Blinken, is actually meeting in Romania with his NATO counterparts so they could discuss more ways to give Ukraine military aid, including air defense weapons. Jens Stoltenberg, who's actually the Secretary General of NATO, NATO being the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This is a paramilitary organization, combines the militaries of multiple nations, including the US, including Canada, including a lot of European countries, including Australia, and as they've been trying to get Ukraine to be a part of it, hence why big reason why Russia was invading Ukraine. Now, they've also Stoltenberg actually accused Russia of using winter as a weapon against the Ukrainians as they attacked mad energy structures, infrastructure, whatever, taking out the heat and electricity for the winter. Duh, you know what I'm saying? But all is fair in love and war, isn't that what they say? Now, one thing that is going on, according to Politico, they're reporting that European officials are quietly saying that the United States is actually making profit off of this invasion, with one European official reporting to NATO saying that, basically the United States are winning because they're selling more gas and at higher prices, and they're making money off defense weapons. Green War and graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in China, you got protests erupting all over the nation over China's zero COVID policy. And it's all started from a fire that actually erupted in an apartment building in Urumqi. That's spelled Urumqi, on Thursday night, where the fire was burning, and it said that firefighters weren't able to actually get to the residents to save them because of the zero COVID policies, and as a result, 10 residents actually died. So they had a vigil and remembrance in Urumqi over the weekend. However, protests got pretty crazy. It was in Urumqi. It actually spread to other cities. In your Beijing and Shanghai. In Beijing, it even reached Tsinghua University, Tsinghua. This is the university where the president of China, Xi Jinping, actually studied. So you're hearing chants of down with Xi Jinping and we want freedom, and it's getting pretty crazy. Chinese authorities have actually went overtime to actually prevent more outrageous protests, putting up barriers and all sorts, cracking down and surrounding protest camps and things of that nature, due to those demonstrations that were pretty much unprecedented in what's considered to be communist China. They actually lifted some restrictions in certain places throughout China. They also have apparently set out an initiative to vaccinate residents over the age of 80 for COVID-19. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Taiwan, the country that actually China has been beefing over, that's kind of like China considers this country to kind of be theirs, and which is why they had a huge issue when Nancy Pelosi had actually visited there recently, because it was seen amidst the tension between Russia and Ukraine. It was seen as intrusive, especially with China deliberately saying and forbidding the act. So this past Saturday, they actually had local elections that saw the Democratic Progressive Party actually take a crazy loss in the polls, forcing Taiwan's president, Tsai Ing-wen, Tsai being Tsai, Ing-wen, ING-WEN, forcing her to resign from being the head of the Democratic Progressive Party. Voters overwhelmingly supported the Nationalist Party, which has historically supported having closer ties with China. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So President Biden actually put out a statement yesterday, basically urging Congress to adopt a deal that is impose a deal that essentially goes against what freight rail workers are opposing all around the country. and they were preparing to go on strike. So so Biden is urging Congress to go ahead and quickly pass this deal. And he's saying that, as a proud pro-labor president, he's reluctant to pretty much go around the protocol for how to vote on these things. However, where the economic impact of a shutdown could hurt millions of people, he thinks that Congress should use its powers to adopt this deal. Now, of course, you got freight rail workers around the country that are against Biden for doing this, and you got a Ron Kaminkow, who's a Kaminkow, who's a locomotive engineer and an organizer for Railroad Workers United, actually saying that he's, Biden could have actually opted to tell Congress to, pass legislation that would help mediate the situation and give more favorable terms to the workers, like say a handful of sick days. And right now, that's what it's boiling down to. And railroad workers traditionally get no time off, and with the upcoming legislation that they're faced with, they're going to get just very, very little time off. Traditionally, railroad workers got no sick days. Let me rephrase that. But that's what they're faced with. So what do y'all think? Green War and graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you remember that mass shooting that happened in Buffalo, New York this past May, where this white kid went to a black supermarket, a majority black populated supermarket, and ended up just letting off yet another mass shooting, ended up killing 10 people. Well, this white teenager actually has pled guilty in the Buffalo, New York court to murder and hate-motivated terrorism. So again, this is somebody that killed 10 people on a shooting spree, and he's now facing life in prison without the possibility of parole. Green War and graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So in Chesapeake, Virginia, you actually had a vigil that was held yesterday night, after, in remembrance of those 6 people that were actually murdered in the Walmart shooting spree last week. Now, a lot of outlets aren't going to say this because, they're probably scared of being accused of being racist or anything like that. But at the end of the day, this was a black man that did this. Andre Marcus Bingham, 31 years old, somebody that had actually worked for Walmart for 12 years, had actually did the doing. You know what I mean? Ended up murdering 6 people. 6 other people were injured. One of them being on crazy critical condition, fighting for his life. Now, this is somebody who was said to have been bullied by his co-workers. Everybody always thought he was weird. Kept black tape wrapped around his phone to block the cameras. He was always worried about the government spying on him and all that. People just thought he was weird, and he actually left a death note talking about how people were always making fun of him, and that he was getting harassed by idiots, and he's really a loving person. He just wanted a wife, and a lot of things that he said in the note that was considered to be rambling. But when police got there at the scene, they found him with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Dead. Sad situation. Another mass murder in this United States, and another vigil for this another mass murder. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out the graduationparty.org to get yourself or a loved one some high quality mathematics tutoring, so we can actually get our graduation on in these tumultuous times. Now, moving on to the news, up in New Haven, Connecticut, you have 5 police officers that have actually been arrested and charged. One of these charges includes second-degree reckless endangerment. Now, this is for an incident that happened on June 19th when they had arrested a black man by the name of Randy Cox for who they suspected was illegally in possession of a handgun. So they cuff him up and they put him in the back of the paddy wagon without any seatbelt. Anybody that's been jammed up know ain't no seatbelts in the paddy wagons. However, sometimes they will lock you to the paddy wagon, or there'll be enough people in the paddy wagon to where you're kind of braced for any abrupt stops. Well, he's the only one in there, and this van made an abrupt stop, and they had Randy Cox slamming into the metal wall of the truck and he actually severely injured his neck and his spine. He is said to be paralyzed right now, so we'll see how this turns out. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Arizona, you actually have the state being led by Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, who actually recently won the race to become the governor of Arizona, they are actually suing one of the counties in the state, specifically Cochise County, after his board of supervisors refused to certify the election results of 2022, these past midterm election results. Now keep in mind that Katie Hobbs actually defeated Carrie Lake, who is supported by Trump, backed by Trump, and this is somebody who still has not conceded to her loss to Katie Hobbs. This is somebody who actually supported the idea that the 2020 election was rigged and that, President Joe Biden didn't really defeat former President Donald Trump. Now, this is Cochise is actually run by Republicans mostly, and after in Arizona, you finally got in Maricopa County. This is the state's largest county. They actually officially certified the elections just yesterday, the election results, after a crazy meeting, a rambunctious meeting, we could say, where Republicans were asserting that the election was stolen, but weren't providing any evidence for there being a rigged election. Green War on Graduation. What the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Now, I've been telling y'all over the years how Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, has actually been jailed. Initially he was hiding out in embassies, but now he is currently in Britain's jail and is facing being expatriated to the United States. Now, and he's facing 175 years in prison for violating the U.S. Espionage Act. Now, you had 5 major newspaper publications, the New York Times, The Guardian, and then even 3 in Europe, El País, Le Monde, Der Spiegel, have all compiled a joint letter that they sent to the Biden administration, urging Biden and his administration to drop all charges against Julian Assange, basically saying that this sets a dangerous precedent to newspapers, and it actually seems to undermine America's First Amendment and the freedom of press. So the letter ends by saying publication is not a crime. Now, all 5 of those publications I mentioned, they actually partnered with WikiLeaks back in 2010 to unleash and report on documents that were unleashed by WikiLeaks, which included U.S. war crimes that were committed in Iraq and Afghanistan. These documents were leaked by then former U.S. Army person Bradley Manning, who has since recently became transgender and changed his name to Chelsea Manning. Green War on Graduation. Street reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you have the Biden administration actually easing up on the sanctions that they had imposed on Venezuela, and they've actually given Chevron, the gas company, and they've allowed it to resume pumping oil in Venezuela. So this may even ease some prices at the pump, or may not. We will see, because there's companies and not just in the gas industry, but overall in the United States, are inflating their prices because they know that people think that we're in an economic crisis, and people are just going to go along with it and essentially, I don't know, either blame Biden or blame Trump. Now, with you also had, this comes as like the government of Venezuela, or Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, his officials actually were resumed talks over the economic crisis that's going on in Venezuela and Mexico City with opposition leaders. So we will see if anything comes of this. Green War on Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Missouri State Supreme Court actually has refused to halt the execution of black man Kevin Johnson, who was set to be executed today. Now, this is even after a special prosecutor's request for a stay while they go over how the case itself was tainted by racism. Well, the Supreme Court ruled 5-2 that he should still be executed, and that's where we at today. Green War on Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you got former President Donald J. Trump actually under fire by even people that used to be in his constituency for hosting a known white nationalist and Holocaust denier, Nick Fuentes, at his Mar-a-Lago resort last week, along with Kanye West. And you got black members of the black community that are politically astute, criticizing Kanye West for even being alongside Nick Fuentes. I mean, there's even footage out there of Kanye West talking about Nick Fuentes and speaking about him with some reverence. At the end of the day, it makes you question what is going on. Why are you aligning yourselves with people who are known to be white supremacists and have hateful rhetoric towards Jews and deny and reject that the Holocaust actually even happened without really giving any qualifications or context? So you have Trump dining with them, and people are calling them out. Even Mike Pence, Trump's former vice president, called Trump out about it. Said he needs to basically denounce them, and we will see where this goes. We know how it comes to Trump when it comes to denouncing hate or whatever. He might give us a stand back and stand by. You know what I'm saying? So Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, y'all might still be in the mix. Today's Green Wall and Graduation though.